Well, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just go. We'll just start here. Just say what you were saying about Ice Cube and the.
So yeah, Ice Cube pretty much put out a plan uh,
Mhm.
for the black community, and he put it out to everybody. Democrats sat down and they saw the plan, and they literally were like, "Okay, we'll get back to you." And then Trump saw the plan, was like, "I'm going to incorporate this in the KFC Platinum
Yeah.
Church's
Medea
chicken plan."
presents.
But
Medea
Medea
presents.
presents presents Black Banks fried chicken.
Yeah.
But so Ice Cube didn't seek this out. Ice Cube didn't go to Trump. Trump campaign just responded, and it's an obvious play to the black vote. All right, let's not. I'm not saying that Trump is the savior of black people. I'm just saying that this obvious play is a good one because the lack of playing on the other side, the Democrat. Where's the counter move? Where Biden should come back hard with, fuck that plan. That's not a plan. Here, I got something. Bam, Ice Cube, come over here. Okay, Killer Mike, you got a black bank. Let's come together. Okay. They say 500 billion. I'm gonna give you 600 billion. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Give us. It's all words, and that's my problem. Is that when someone
Right.
attacks Trump's plan, it's like it's all words. Don't think he's gonna do it. Fuck you. We're not getting anything. We're already not getting anything. So at least we have to start with words.
Well, I think this is the real reality of the situation for Biden, anyways. Trump's base is gonna vote for him no matter what, right? And so he only has things to gain, meaning that like coming out with this plan, whether or not he's gonna do it, which like I said, I don't think he's gonna do it. But let's say either way, coming out with this plan can only help.
Not even...
Let me finish. Coming out with this plan could only help him. Whereas if you're Biden, you're trying to win over white upper middle class women. That's really what this election is going to come down to. They don't give a fuck about black people problems.
They don't have
don't
to.
give a fuck.
Hassan, he's not. He's not. This is complicated politics. This is what a good politician would do is play to everybody he can. Hassan, play to the white.
You play to win,
women, but also play to black people.
The black base is going to vote Democratic almost no matter what.
And but what you just said is something that I think a lot of people are trying to change. And that's the friction that we're seeing with the Democratic Party and black people right now. Kanye, Ice Cube, Steve Harvey sat down with Trump and everyone's mad. They have us trained. They have us very well trained. And we need to understand that we need to unhitch from all shit. But we're hitched up to the Democrats. We need to fucking hold our votes for hostage. And we need the Democrats to be afraid of losing our votes. What you just said is the very problem. Biden knows he doesn't have to play to us. That's why Trump's play is a good one. Because Trump, he says it all the time that Biden doesn't have any enthusiasm. He says it all the time, Biden doesn't have his base. See, Trump knows what's going on. And that's a part of the system. And I just wish Biden would come up with a black agenda. You're telling me that he's gonna lose votes if he comes up with a black agenda? No, he won't. No, he won't.
Yeah, like I said, there is no reason for him to do that. His focus is nowhere near that.
But so what you're explaining is a corrupt individual. That's not a good thing. What you just said.
I'm explaining how to win.
No, you're not. You're explaining. Listen, Hassan. You literally didn't explain how to win. You're explaining that he can win because the framework is as such right now, where blacks don't hold our votes hostage. So he knows that. What I'm telling you is a lot of people, including myself, are done with it. They have been for 4 years ago. They were done with it. They're still done with it. And all Biden has to do is show us one iota of regret for the crime bill. All he has to do is step appropriately. You know what I mean? It's like come correct. You ever heard that phrase? Like this, they just come correct, man. I'm not. Right. I want somebody to come correct. And Trump he put a chess move on the table, and this is all bullshit. So I don't want to hear that Trump's plan is bullshit because it's all bullshit. But what I'm saying is that's the appropriate move. If I'm a guy trying to win and I want the black vote and I see Biden as a clown, I'm going to offer whatever I know. Oh, yeah, $1 bajillion for the black community. what I see now is I need the Democrats to counter that and actually put up a fight because they are losing. They don't have the stronghold on the Black community that they used to.
Okay,
And,
but what do you think the voting splits are going to be for Black people during this election? Like, what do you think? Like, percentage-wise, they're going to vote for Trump.
I think Trump is going to get. I think his Black support has increased at least by 2%.
So
at
what? He gets
2%. So like
so
maybe
do you think he gets up to? Do you think he even breaks double digits?
I think maybe 11. Maybe 11%. Yeah, which is he shouldn't be that high at all. That's a problem. That's what I'm saying is it's a problem. It's not because it's not. There's a lot of coons. Sure, there's a lot of Black people that hate themselves, but there's even more of an alarming people who are like, man, I'm done with this bullshit, bro. Listen, I don't like Biden. He's a racist. I don't like Trump. He's a racist. But Trump is a president. If Trump wants to sit down and act like we can get a plan together, then let's do it. And you know what? Trump might do it. Everybody's saying, well, he's not going to do it. Kanye has already got Trump. We've seen Trump. You can play his ego. This is a guy who's not like a master manipulator. You know what I mean? If he sees the benefit of his base and the benefit of his presidency, he'll do it. That's why he has done it. And I think that's why he can be manipulated. He can be the perfect example is the stimulus bill. I'm so glad that because I almost forgot to talk about it. The stimulus bill, bro. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect example of how Trump can be played, but he's also not a bad business guy. I mean, when Nancy came to him with the 3.3 trillion, and then Trump was like, "No, I'm not doing that. But I'll do 1.8. I'll do 1.8 trillion, and it'll be direct checks to Americans. You want to do that right now?" Nancy, on her high horse, is sitting there shaking. She's got fucking Parkinson's at this point. She's always vibrating. She's fucking vibrating. She should come up with a vibrating. Somebody should make a vibrator called the Nancy Pelosi, where they just fucking stick it up their vagina. But like she was fucking. She went on CNN, Wolf Blitzer, and did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. I don't watch the news like that.
Oh man,
I watch none of them.
I mean,
but
it'll just get you mad.
I do want to mention this, that McConnell came out and said that he would oppose the $1.8 trillion deal that Trump put out.
Then let him oppose it. I love this imaginary world where Nancy gets to sit on her high horse and she's like, it's not enough. 1 trillion isn't enough. And then so she's like, well, but we need this to go right now. And Trump is the president. So if Trump now wants stimulus, that's actually the real power of the presidency. He can't snap his fingers.
I mean, I'm reading Forbes right now. McConnell says if the 1.8, because it's the 1.8 plan, that is what's it called? That's working between Pelosi and the White House. And McConnell said that he will not even put the bill on the floor.
But then let him right now they're putting the blame on the Republicans, but the blame is on them, bro. The blame is on Nancy. If you want the blame to be on the Republicans, let it be fully on Mitch McConnell. Nancy won't come to the table because she doesn't want, because there's a chance it might pass. Mitch, everyone says everything, Hassan, but we all know things change. They never wanted to give us any money in the beginning. They ended up having to cave. Trump even tweeted, he said stimulus talks are done. And then the economy dipped like in a day. And then all of a sudden he's trying to backtrack. Like, actually, we should go big or go home. You know what I mean? He's tweeting. So these politicians change from minute to minute, second to second. I'm not concerned with what Mitch says right now or Trump. I'm concerned with let's get it to the floor. And if that happens, then at least the blame will rightfully be all on the Republicans.
Well, I'm just reading this article right now. It's interesting to see who Trump is mad at. Trump is mad at his own advisors. He's telling the Republicans to fall in line. I feel like the blame on this is pretty everywhere.
No,
I feel like everyone is
literally, Hassan. Yeah. We're speaking in hypotheticals. You're saying he will shoot the bill down. Nancy won't even pass it, Hassan. Nancy can't. If I'm Nancy, I know the bill isn't enough, but I'm going to go, Americans need the checks. Go ahead, Trump. Do you. And then when Mitch McConnell shoots it down, the whole country will be mad at Mitch. And even Trump can say, hey, I'm trying. But we haven't even got to that point. Right now, the blame is not on anyone else but Nancy. They have to push it. That is how Congress works. She's got to push the bill. And she went on Wolf, and she didn't bring up Mitch McConnell once, Hassan. Do you know how stupid this whole thing is? Whatever article you're reading, I'm sure, is very true. And that's an important factor in this whole thing. But she won't even bring it to Mitch. She didn't even bring up Mitch at all. She brought up the fact that tracing isn't included in the bill, right? So they want contract tracing.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and that's not in the bill.
Yeah.
And so that's oh, here, hold on.
What?
He didn't get the link. Yeah. Let me try to send it again.
Yeah.
Nancy was like, yeah, it's not enough. We need money for contract tracing. We need money for this and that. And then Wolf Blitzer was like, bitch, people need money right now. I understand contract tracing is important. I understand these things are important. But my goodness, can you help people right now? Is that a thing that we can do?
Yeah, Pelosi is very concerned with like not making it making it look like Trump doesn't receive any sort of political win before the election.
And
so I mean, I don't.
And it's costing us, man. Maybe not you, but it's definitely costing a lot of people.
I don't think. I don't think it gets past pre-election. There's no way. There's no way.
Let it be. This is this is all I'm saying, Nancy. It is not. I'm not. If Nancy does what she needs to do and brings it to the House and it doesn't get passed, no one is mad at Nancy, Hassan. No one's mad at Nancy. No one's mad at the Democrats. But right now,
I mean, you're acting like people like care about like that. Like, oh, she brought it to the House. She brought it to the Senate. It's people are gonna hate the Democrats or love the Democrats regardless.
No. Hassan, I'm talking about people. I'm talking about. There's two separate conversations to be had. There's a conversation of what most people think, and most people are ignorant. They're not actually keeping track with it. And then there's the conversation of how politics actually works. I'm speaking to in the framework of how it actually works and what really matters. I'm not talking about the rhetoric right now. I think there's there's two different things. All I'm saying right now is that me, Trey Stewart, as I understand it, and I'm just talking to you, the way it actually works, I'm mad at Nancy. And
all right, well,
I wouldn't be if she would just at least look like she wants to help Americans.
All right, well, I'm gonna invite Brian Kiley in. He's gonna be our guest.
Okay, good.
Let's see. Oh, what's up, Brian?
Hello.
Hey.
Let me get rid of flappers. Sorry about that.
That made me laugh really hard.
Oh, wait, I can't see anybody. What happened?
Whoops. All right.
There it is. I see you.
Yeah, he had a giant flappers background.
Oh.
Hey, oh yeah?
I did a show last night for them and I didn't change it over.
Oh,
how are these Zoom shows going for you? How do you feel about them?
Oh, they're awful. Like you can't tell. I've had some good ones, but most of them, you can't tell how you're doing. You come off, you're like, I have no idea, And I've had some where there was enough people that you heard enough laughs that you're like, okay, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some, even like with the gallery view, you can focus. It's so funny because on a live show, I tend to focus on the person not laughing.
Yeah.
But with Zoom, I do try to find like, okay, this person's enjoying it. Just keep going for that person,
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell how you're doing. I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of awful. It would be like if in a live audience, they could just cover their face and not make a sound.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you go, don't worry, we muted everybody.
Yeah, so you can't hear.
Oh, good. Nothing we can't stand more than is laughter.
So are you doing any like live shows at all?
I've done a couple. I did one of those outdoor like drive-in shows.
Yeah. How was that?
People beeping their horn and stuff. And I did do a show at an outdoor restaurant. And then I did a show at a homeless shelter. That was indoors, but there was nobody. You know, there's only a couple people in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And so,
Uh,
what was it like performing? You know, for the first, because it's like, I know
Oh
you.
yeah, it'd been months. It'd been
Yeah.
6 months, you know, from a real show. The poor guy in front of me at the drive-in show, there was the highway was next to us. So he tells this
mm,
long story, and he's getting to the punchline finally, and like the culmination of this 3-minute story, and this guy in a motorcycle goes by. So it's like, and I said to the guy, whatever, and it was like, I have no idea what that punchline.
Yeah. Damn, 3 minutes. That's
Three
long.
minutes. It was really, yes. He. I just want to shut my phone off. He was. It was pretty funny. Oh, that poor guy. You know.
Yeah. But that's it. That's what comedy is now. Outdoors, we're fighting against nature and cars. You get
And
heckled by.
outdoor shows are bad anyway. I mean, pre-COVID, outdoor shows are bad because the laughs just drift away into the ether, so they're
Yeah.
right.
gone. You know, you
Yeah.
want that low ceiling, and the laughs are trapped in there, and it's
Exactly. Yes, that energy that it can't go over. It's got to stay and be contained.
yes, yes, but but that's that's the best
The
we have
outdoor,
right
yeah,
now
the
is
part
the outdoor
yelling at
shows.
strangers, at passersby. It's like it's weird.
I did one show in at UCLA, and one guy, his entire set, just a police helicopter.
Oh my God. Oh, what did they want him for?
They
They were
they
like,
came for that guy.
this guy's bombing so bad.
They gave him the light.
You know, it's funny because in my neighborhood, CBS Radford is a couple of blocks away. So there've been all this Armenian protests lately,
Yeah.
and they've been
What's that
protesting
about?
CBS specifically. So the helicopters at night, it's nonstop. It's like, oh.
Yeah. What's up with the Armenians? Did they run
Well,
out
I
of
guess
cologne or something?
I guess that there's been some aggression from Azerbaijan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes, and so CBS interviewed one of the heads of our position and sort of made him sympathetic, I guess. I didn't see the interview,
Mm.
but
Mm.
the Armenians are, you know, they've had a tough history. You know, they had the Turks and the Soviets, and they've had
Yeah.
a rough go of it. You know.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you don't hear them complaining at all.
No, this was kind of out of the blue. So, or as far as I know, I guess I haven't been studying the situation as closely as I should, but
I've seen a lot of flags, Armenian
yes,
flags
yeah.
around. I thought it
So
was like a celebration. I don't know what it was.
I thought it was for the Lakers at first, and I was mistaken.
Yeah, I thought it was some kind of like, oh, there's something happened, and it was like a good thing. But no, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
it's but it's a tough time for everybody, I guess.
Yes,
You know.
yeah, yeah. On top of everything, on top of the pandemic, now you have, and some unrest. So I don't
Yeah.
know what to do.
With these cops, and well, I've been at 2 shows where the police have shut down the show. Like,
Really?
yeah, twice.
Because you're not supposed to be doing a show. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Well, in California, it is illegal here.
Right. In LA County, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think in California, right? Or is it some parts that are open?
I, I I don't know. I thought some parts of Orange County were okay or whatever, but
I think it's county by county because I was just in Sacramento and I straight up did a show inside of a club.
oh wow.
Oh, okay. So then it's not. So then it's just county. Okay. So
So
it's
the cops showed up at the show that you were at.
yeah, twice. The first show I was at a apartment show. A good buddy. Do you know Jamar Neighbors?
I don't think I do.
Yeah, he's a good friend. Yeah, he's a he worked on the Carmichael show with Gerard
Oh,
and Will Hunter,
nice.
and yeah, he came up with that crew. And good guy. He had a apartment show, and it was just like a little show. And the cops showed up, and they came, and it was like I think the manager called the police because if I'm honest, if you care about COVID, you probably shouldn't have been at that show. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's a room. It's
Were
not
people wearing
ventilated.
masks or not?
Yeah, but even then,
Still,
it's
you're
like
in an enclosed room.
you're in an enclosed. So it's a
Yeah.
risk, but it's a risk going outside these days. So.
Well, he must be a funny dude if you wrote for that show. That show was hilarious.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. He's so he ate a lot of funny people, and the cops, and then they didn't shut down that show. They just showed up, and for some reason they let it keep going. So that shows you how funny Jamar is.
And what was the other one that got shut down?
It was I did a show in San Diego at the beach, and the cops came, and I was actually headlining, so I had like 10 more minutes left. And the cops showed up. Yeah, I was wrapping up, and then the cops pulled up. And what happened was, like, we all saw him pull up, but I just kept doing jokes as they were coming up. And then I told everybody, I said, hey, we're going to pretend this is a Bible study. And so I just went into scripture.
That's so funny.
And but they shut it down.
I've had plenty of shows where I had 10 minutes to go, and I wish the cops would come and shut it down. I've even thought about calling 911 from the stage a couple times, like, get me out of here.
That's a good trick now. Whenever you're bombing, just report the show.
Well, a lot of these shows have like these outdoor shows that get shut down. Like the shows at the Comedy Store that got shut down. There was a comedy rooftop in downtown that got shut down. A lot of that is from other comics. So what you can do is you can have like a comedian spotter, and whenever you're bombing, have them call the cops.
Yeah. It's like I have them on speed dial. It's so funny. Yeah, but I wish they would just open up Cali. All the way. You know, if some counties, like, I don't want to have to drive to Orange County or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I feel like outdoor shows, if you're spread out and people are wearing masks,
that's fine, right?
I think it's supposed to be much safer outdoors than indoors. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But outdoors are illegal here. LA, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Well, even I think I think some of the, like, I don't think they can car shows, like the drive-in shows. I don't even think they're legal right now.
That's so silly. They should be.
I know at least the ones I've seen online, like the Tammy Joe shows, they have like a COVID compliance officer who's there, and they make sure that they comply with like a certain set of rules. Like they have that. I know a lot of like productions. I was on set for a little short. Yeah, they had a police officer there, and he was the COVID compliance officer. So we had to just do what he said. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, well, they should do that for everybody then. We should. Yeah, the Comedy Store should get a COVID.
The White House should get one.
Well, now you're making too much sense. Whoa, all right. I mean, listen, I didn't want to get political, but yeah, you're making too much sense, man. Yeah, everybody got COVID in the White House, right? It's like, who did?
Well, they had that super spreader event that that everyone. It was a choice between leaving with a gift bag or with COVID. I would have taken the gift bag, but whatever.
Did you see footage? Did you guys see footage of that garden? There was one lady that had the shield. It was one lady walking around with a face shield, and you could just see in her eyes the terror.
Wow! And so, did she get it? Maybe she's the one person who didn't get it.
I bet she didn't get it. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't even know who she was. She was just some random lady, but I mean, she had a face shield, and she was standing next to Barr, who was like pretty much kissing Kellyanne in the mouth. Yeah. They were making out.
Yeah, I think that's how they greeted people at that event. They just spit in each other's mouths.
Well, you know what? Did you see Trump? His latest rally, he said he's cured. He feels so good. He would kiss everyone in the mouth. Did you guys see that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's like, I feel so good right now. I just want to go and kiss everyone in the mouth, even the men. He said that. It's like, like, I like how it'd be funny if his October surprise was that he's the first gay president. It's like, I'm gay. Like, oh man, this guy's wily. You know, he's a wily kind of guy. I think
he could get some Democratic votes if he did that. I don't know. That would be a fantastic October.
Somebody's got to get that to Trump. If only I could be his advisor.
It would be a good move politically for sure. It would also be, it would also be like a very LA move, like, oh, you're gay now? Is that
Well, it's funny because it's like if this guy gets out of office and they find some shady shit, he could go to jail. So it's like you don't get to just say I'm gay and you get out of jail. It didn't work for Kevin Spacey. It's not gonna work.
Well, Kevin Spacey's not in jail right now, is he? I think he very
That's
much
true.
did
He's
work
not
for
in
Kevin
jail,
Spacey.
so it actually did work for Kevin Spacey. But what did he do though? I wasn't ever really sure what Kevin did.
I think he assaulted a minor. Like I think he was like the guy was like 17 or something, and
now because I don't know the story at all. By assault, it's like, is it like a Harvey Weinstein thing, or was it more like a Chris D'Elia thing? Like, did he just like him young?
No, I think he grabbed.
Okay.
I think he might have grabbed inside his crotch. It was something. It was
really like out of okay. That's crazy. Out of the blue. That's crazy.
Well, I think there was some drug. Might have been. I think there was some alcohol involved.
He put a Cosby.
Yeah, it wasn't a good thing. It was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was curious because if it had been a consensual thing, if it had been like.
Oh yeah. I mean, the age, like.
Age is still
underage or whatever it's too.
It's still underage.
Yeah. No, the consenting adults is where I draw the line. Say, what two consenting adults do, it's like okay, but I don't think this was either of those.
Yeah, that's different. That's different, man.
I thought he was a fantastic actor. I always enjoyed him in every.
Yeah, he was great.
Ironically, one of the best movie villains ever. Whenever he played a villain, he was unbelievable.
It's great that, on one hand, it was good that he could tap into that side of himself. On the other hand, maybe not be a villain in real life.
Yeah, he took method acting. He took it way too far. Yeah.
You know what they say? Life imitates art. Isn't that what they say? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's a shame, man. But I do want to ask. So is that what's going on at Conan? Are you guys still going, or did you take a hiatus? Or?
Well, we're actually off right now because TBS has the baseball playoffs.
Oh, okay.
So we're always off this time of year anyway.
Okay.
What did happen was it kind of messed up we had certain weeks off scheduled, and then we also had, Conan does those shows where he goes to, other countries. So we had in the schedule, okay, he's going to go to, South America here or whatever country he was going to go to, Asia, it's somewhere in Asia or a country in South America or something like that. And then all that stuff, of course, got canceled. But they had, at the beginning of the year, they had already been scheduled for that stuff. So, but when we come back next week, we work, but we don't have shows, but we're just working, getting ready for the shows. And then we're back, he's at the Largo Theater and none of us are allowed there. It's just, and they'll have Andy in the audience and
that's crazy.
Conan's assistant Sona.
How come you guys aren't able to go?
We're not able to go. No, our head writer and our producer and one of the cameramen.
That's weird because you would think that, like, at least let the writers be there. The more people, the better, right?
I think the city's only allowing like 5 people or something. So,
I don't know if that's. Do you think that that's necessary?
Well, I guess it's just being cautious and,
It seems like they're sort of making an example out of you guys because you guys are like a bigger production. Because the production I did was for, All Things Comedy. It's not like it's NBC or TBS, you know what I mean? And there were so many people at the place.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess he doesn't need to see us. So
yeah, it's all on Conan. It's so funny. It's not even the government.
No, I think he's okay with it. So we write our stuff every day and we send it in and all that kind of stuff.
And you guys,
but I work on the monologue. I mean, that's my primary focus. he's really not doing a monologue
Which
because there's no audience.
I think, the
know?
silliest we've had this kind. I talk to Brian all the time, Hassan, about how
Mm-hmm.
silly it is that that Conan doesn't not only do a monologue but put it on the internet and put more clips. We want to see it. We want to see it. Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I think he feels, and I've felt like this with some of my Zoom shows. It's like I feel like it's like, all right, am I just talking in my bedroom here? You know what I mean? And we've done some kind of spoofs on the monologue where we've almost done a parody of the monologue a couple of times.
Funny. Yeah.
But as long as I get my jokes on, even if their show is making fun of them, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to do it. But and I just mean to say that I know maybe Conan doesn't feel like he's doing the best work he's doing, but I've watched some Jimmy Fallon clips, and I'm sorry, it's like he's getting like 5 million views. You know what I mean? It's like people would watch Conan just talk.
Well, that's interesting. We've had some bits that I've loved that they put online that I think have done really well. Especially, we're limited under these circumstances. I'd love to see him do a monologue, but I think that he's been very creative within what we have to deal with, And actually, I think that is something that happens a lot in writing where, if you're in school and your teacher says, write a story about anything, I can't think of anything. You know what I mean? But if a teacher says, okay, write a story about mice.
Yeah.
Suddenly you've got 5 ideas. Do you know what I mean? Like
right.
the specific things. So sometimes having a barrier or something gives you something to play off of or whatever,
Yeah.
We did one bit where Conan sends his assistant the package, and it's for the employee of the month because of what's been going on and blah, blah, and she's going to open it on the air. And she thinks it's for her, but no, it turns out the employee of the month is Conan. And she make this announcement or whatever. And having her not know what's in the thing when she opens up, her disgust that it was him was so funny. Her reaction was so genuine and fantastic.
That's great. Is that online right now?
Yeah, I think you can find that online. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I think if you went to YouTube and just put Conan and employee of the month, I think
I think that, and I think you should flood the internet with them because every time I look for them, they're very far and few in between, and they're very short. It's not enough Conan. His presence online.
Well, if I say to him, hey, I'm getting some feedback and they're saying more Conan.
More Conan, man. Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I have spent hours watching old clips of Conan from years back.
I do the same, I'll go down a certain rabbit hole to look for a specific thing, and I'll laugh at that. And then I'll say, oh, what's the next thing? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I wasted an hour, where it's like,
yeah.
But I love seeing it. And it's funny to me of stuff that I've completely forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's funny because if you talk to Andy, he'll watch those and he's in a lot of them. And he has no recollection of saying those things, being in that part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that'll happen with me with monologue jokes when I look through, like, I don't remember writing these jokes at all, But to actually be in a bit, be in a costume, the whole thing, and have no recollection of it because there's just so many,
it's got to be confusing to get. Do you ever, do you remember some of your favorite bits that you've written or some stuff that you were proud of? You're like, that's really funny.
Yeah, I think, there was a bit we did where he was complaining about the new words in the dictionary and that we keep adding new words. And he's saying that there's some old-fashioned words that we had that we should bring back. So the word thrice, like once, twice, thrice.
Yeah.
And it is a word that's like, that would actually be a handy word instead of saying 3 times,
Right.
And so it was always somebody doing something heinous, but they were doing it for the third time. And that was a fun bit to write.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you guys writing? Are you guys? I'm guessing assuming your writer's room is through Zoom now, or are you doing it in person? Okay.
Oh no,
Well,
we're it's all Zoom. We don't we don't get to hang out at all. Yeah.
So yeah, what are the challenges of writing a show like Conan over Zoom?
It's actually, I don't like Zoom because I tend to be a little more soft-spoken. So when it's 12 people talking at one, I think it's harder for me to get a word in.
Yeah.
I think depending on your personality, I think it's making it's a little more tricky for me. But I have to say that when we do meet, the writer's room is really funny. Like the people I work with are really funny. So I do enjoy seeing everybody and riffing and all that stuff is really fun,
And you guys are mostly comedians, right?
There's a bunch of comedians, and even just the people that did improv and things like that are really funny. And I think, what I do miss is there used to be like a 2:00 meeting, and it would be Laurie Kilmartin, our head writer, Matt O'Brien, and Conan and me. And the four of us would figure out the monologue for the day. And it was just a nice part of the day where, we're kind of riffing because what happens at the 4:00 meeting is right before the show, and Conan is really Conan and Andy are kind of revving up for the show. But this is a couple hours before, and we'll discuss politics or world events or personal, whatever. So it's a much more sort of thoughtful conversation, and it's fun to see sort of a reflective side of Conan, because he is a very smart guy. He's a very thoughtful guy, but normally what we're seeing is the sort of the comedic Conan,
right?
And see him actually kind of thoughtfully discussing an issue or asking, we'll have some discussion about our kids or whatever. It's just a little more of a real conversation, I guess.
Yeah, he's a real person.
He's a real person, and it's fun to see that side and have those conversations with him. And he's a very insightful guy and a very thoughtful guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely. I think you could tell that through his comedy, just how. He like oftentimes he's the butt of the joke, so he's smart enough to make other people the butt. But he always turns it around.
He's very good at that, and so it's kind of funny to see sort of the different sides of him, and so I haven't gotten to have sort of that one-on-one with him since COVID.
Oh yeah, man, yeah, that sucks. It's so COVID has really messed up a lot of stuff.
Well, even it is with you and I have talked over Zoom, know, but it's hard getting together with people and having dinner with people, or just having, normally my son and my daughter and I will go to a ball game over the summer, and that kind of thing, and you can't do anything like that,
Yeah. How is your family? Because your daughter actually.
My daughter had it. Yeah, she had it in March. She was a senior at college, and there were kids who had gone to Italy for their, year abroad. They weren't supposed to come on campus, and they come on campus. And my daughter's whole friend, and one of her roommates was from the Netherlands, so she couldn't even fly home. She's in the school infirmary by herself. For like 3 weeks with the nurses and her, and then finally she was, cleared of it and was able to fly home. But my daughter, she came home, and then we discovered that she had it. So she really isolated. She just was in, she was just in a room, like we didn't see her for a month.
Yeah, and no one else got it, right?
And no, we didn't get it unless we were asymptomatic. But no, we were okay. But and she didn't have she had a mild case, thank God. I mean, she was sleeping 12 hours a day, achy. You know, we seemed like pretty normal.
Thank God. Thank
We didn't
God.
even know she had anything.
Yeah.
Seems like that's how she behaves anyway. But she didn't have a high fever or anything like that.
That's
like
great.
we weren't like we got to rush her to the hospital or anything like that. But
That's
and then after a
thank
month,
God, yeah.
she got tested again and was negative.
That's the good. I'm a silver linings guy. And we in Asan talk about this all the time, where people focus on the negatives of how bad it is. Yeah, a lot of people, more people died from this that should have. But just statistically speaking, most people get through this.
Right, right.
And that's a positive thing, I think.
That is a positive thing, yes. And she, you know, she's young and healthy and all that. So
was she a college senior when it hit? So did she graduate under COVID?
she graduated under COVID. Yeah. I mean, so it hit in March. She was, you know, did the Zoom schooling and stuff for the last couple of months. But, you know, it ruined her senior year of college, and there's no graduation ceremony. It was supposed, and they pushed it to October, and then they canceled that too. So I don't know if she'll ever have a graduation ceremony.
Yeah. Did they ever? Some schools did it on Zoom. They didn't have a Zoom kind of ceremony.
They didn't have a Zoom ceremony or anything.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know, I think they kept thinking that they were going to have a real thing. And one of her friends, one of her friends goes to school in DC, and they're going to just have them celebrate their graduation with the people who graduate next year, you know. So I don't know what my daughter's school is going to do, but you know, senior year of college, and you want to hang out with your friends and have all those, you know, have all those moments. And you know, you have that senior week where you're just partying, and you know they have events and you know, all that stuff, and
it sucks.
So.
These are crazy times. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if it's going to end anytime soon, but hopefully there's, I mean, we may not even know who the president is for months.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny because I do think whenever I see young people now, I just want to say, oh, I'm so sorry. Because whatever, you know, if you're 5 years old and you can't go out and you can't have birthday parties and do all that stuff, and
it sucks.
You know, if you're in high school and have to go to Zoom and all that, you know, for me, it's like, all right, well, I can stay in the house and write and read, and it's a bummer, but it's not nearly as much as a bummer as for, you know, imagine if you're, you know, if you're a star athlete and this is your senior year, and sorry, you don't get to play this, you know.
That's sucks, and that like ruins the whole thing. I mean, it's really
kids
tough.
That were looking for college scholarships and wanted to have, you know, if they had a good football season in their senior year of high school or whatever, I don't know what's going to happen with any of that stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's all up in the air. And I know a lot of schools don't even know what they're doing with tuition. Do the kids keep paying? Do they get money back?
Right. Because you're not paying for board, you know, if they're just at home and doing Zoom. I don't know. Yeah.
What are you paying for?
Well, my sister just started USC this fall, and she said like everything is super discounted, because obviously if they didn't, why would you even go to school? I asked my sister that anyways, like, why not just wait?
Right. Well, my son was going to go to law school this fall, and he's pushed it a year because
that makes sense
for the same thing. And
that makes perfect sense.
You wouldn't get to meet anybody or hang out with anybody, or, you know.
I feel so bad for her. Like, I remember my second semester, so she graduated high school. My second semester senior year of high school is like, I just goofed off and I had fun with my friends, and I got high for the first time. You know what I mean? Like,
she's missing out on getting high for the first time.
I mean, you know, as a young person, that is an experience. And she's just sitting at home, and, you know, we watch a movie every week, but that's about it, you know? Her interaction.
Absolutely. All that stuff with your friends and everything else. And luckily, I mean, I would have missed that much of my senior year of high school, but for other people,
me neither.
It's a big
yeah. I'd have been
Well,
happy.
my son played baseball in college, and if they had taken his senior year away, that would have been heartbreaking for us,
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I know a lot of families are going through that thing. And
Yeah.
so well, what do you think about this stimulus thing? I wanted to ask you that too.
Well, I, I do think there's a ton of people out there hurting, and
Yeah.
they need that check, And you and I know, I mean, I'm fortunate that my job is still going
Right.
on, but you and I know a ton of comics who that's their livelihood and they can't do shows, and yeah, they need that check,
Yeah.
And this is the thing. There's so many things where, people are personal trainers, or they own a gym, or they own a deli or a coffee shop, and this is through no fault of their own. They might
Yeah.
have had that coffee shop for 20 years and it's doing great, and all of a sudden for a year it's closed.
Yeah.
You know, um,
And no, they didn't do no fault of their own.
no fault of their own. They didn't screw up in any way, So, yeah, I have a ton of friends who do cruise ships and they're comedy clubs, and they've been comics for years, and that's how they get by. And
Yeah.
yeah, my heart goes out to them. They need that. They need
It's
that check.
it's a shame that it's being held
Yeah.
up right now by politics for both sides. Nobody's got clean hands in this one, but it's a shame to see that. It's a shame to see people play politics.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people are, they're, they need food.
Yeah, they got to pay rent.
They got to pay rent, and yeah, and sometimes
And
people
so,
need medicine or whatever.
so this is the only argument I've heard, and I don't agree with it one bit. But I'll throw it at you guys, and tell me what you think. They say Nancy's stance, because Nancy Pelosi says, I don't want to budge at all to give Trump even one little bit of a win. And that's literally like what it is. And they say that if Nancy was to go ahead with these checks and make a deal with Trump, that would be a political win for Trump in a time where he needs it, and it might make more people vote for him. So I guess the argument is let people suffer because it might help Trump.
Well, so the Democrats want a $600 a week check, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
And the Republicans are offering 200.
I thought it was 300, but it's definitely substantially lower. It should be way higher. It's not enough at all.
Well,
No.
I guess if they can hold out for a couple of weeks to get and see if Biden can win, maybe they get the 600 a week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. It's
That's the thing is I think if Biden wins, then he should just issue more checks. He should, whatever they want to do now that Trump isn't doing, they can do when they're in power. But right now, to get us through because people, not only do we have to get through the next couple of weeks, but we haven't had a check in a month. We haven't had help in over a month.
And even if Biden wins, that might mean they still have to wait till January 20th for him to take office.
Yeah, it's not going to be immediate.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, I think you're right. People need help now,
and they're gonna need help. I mean, because if you just look at any of the numbers or any of the things coming out, it seems like this winter is going to get bad.
So yeah.
Right. Well, we haven't had the second wave yet, right? We're still in the first wave.
Still in the first wave, baby. First wave.
Yeah. What's your guys' favorite wave?
I never want to leave the first wave. I'm happy. This is it.
Yeah. I heard the third wave's going to be great. I don't know.
The third by the time.
At the beginning of the first wave, I will say this: the traffic in LA was beautiful. You could you could make a left turn easily.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles.
Those were the days.
It's a half an hour from here with no traffic, and you're like, there's never been no traffic. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? It's always an hour or whatever. There were times I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe this COVID isn't so bad.
For that first couple months, LA felt like LA on Thanksgiving, where it's just everyone is gone and you could just move.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, hope people are moving out. Are you leaving, Brian? Are you sticking around? Obviously, you're gonna stick around.
I got to stick around. But I'm happy. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, but
has Conan talked about, because Joe Rogan left, is Conan thinking about going to Texas?
you know, Conan very often does follow what Joe Rogan does. No,
Yeah, they're like
going to Texas.
they're a duo, they're a team, you know.
As Joe goes, so goes Conan. So yeah,
no, you
so
guys are
Conan,
sticking
yeah.
around?
So Joe had the podcast first, so now
That's
Conan's got
true.
a nice successful podcast, and then so I'm assuming that Conan's going to take up Taekwondo.
He's gonna start talking about elk meat. Yo, that's what you gotta do. Get ahead. Start writing monologue bits about DMT and and ancient dimensional creatures.
Sure, and I
That are
think
controlling
if
politics.
Conan could learn the chokehold.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah. Listen, Conan, he already has the look for it. I'd be afraid of Conan.
but Conan does plan. There's no big move plan that you know of.
No, I can't imagine. No.
Yeah. And well, so are you guys you're coming back right before the election or after?
Yeah, we're coming back right before the election, and you know, we also don't know if we know about the results of the election night.
No,
You
it's
know what
gonna
I mean?
be
We don't
weeks.
know. It
Yeah.
could be weeks before we know who the, you know, this is the most bizarre time I've witnessed, you know.
Yeah.
It's each thing, it's so surreal. You go out and we're all wearing masks, and just the whole world is so apocalyptic now. It's so bizarre, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy hot for no reason in October.
Oh yeah. It's 100 degrees. It's
Yeah. Fucking global warming. Yeah, I think we're all. I wrote a bit or something. It was more like a tweet, but it was like you remember how people were saying the world Mayans calendar said it was going to end at 2012?
Yeah.
I feel like that they actually meant 2021, and somebody had dyslexia. And so next year, it's over. It's all over, baby.
Right. Maybe
it definitely feels that way.
Maybe they were the Mayans. It's like maybe even they spelled Mayan.
Yeah, like they just whoever was fucked it up completely. But it does feel that way. It does feel like a series finale if America was a television show.
Yes. And could you have anticipated this, 10 years ago? If someone said, okay, Donald Trump's going to be president, there's going to be this pandemic where no one can leave the house without a mask, you'd be like, what? What are you talking about,
Just mass civil unrest for a whole year, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Bill Cosby's in jail.
Yeah.
It's you get it's almost like these weird things happen, and after a while you just like, oh, okay, I guess, you know what I mean? Like I would never have anticipated any of these things,
No, yeah, it's crazy times. But I tell you what, the only thing keeping me going these days is Zoom shows. That's it. It's like I'm just doing. Speaking of, like, let me know. We got to do flappers again.
Absolutely. Well, it's like even like this stuff like this. It's like, okay, there's some human interaction, and I think it's actually very healthy. I think just being by yourself all the time is it's not.
It's depressing. It's
depressing.
Yeah. I'd much rather.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah, like I'm drunk right now, but at least I'm talking to just some.
You're not drinking alone.
Exactly. And that's what makes you alcoholic. You drink alone.
Yeah.
Drink with other people. I'm just a socialite.
But I do think the rates of depression and everything else has got to be skyrocketing under these.
It is, yeah.
Circumstances,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something I read that said there's gonna be a mental health crisis that's sort of gonna slowly start popping up, because this is pretty lonely. There was a time when I got home, because I just moved back to my parents' house because my entire money was based off touring, so that was
sure.
Yeah, that was gone for me. But like when I moved here, I quarantined for 2 weeks, and that was an incredibly lonely time. And it's just like people just have to deal with that when they get sick, and some people are already living alone. And then on top of that, coming out of this, some people are gonna be afraid to go back outside again. Like it's gonna be like crazy.
I think so too. Like it's awful.
Yeah. Are you gonna wait for a vaccine before you start going back out?
You know, I guess it is. What's also frustrating is that you can get it twice. We used to think, well, if you got it and you got over it, then if you have the antibodies, you're okay.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And now they're more and more saying that herd immunity is not going to work or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw in 60 Minutes this health expert saying she prefers the mask over a vaccine.
I
I thought that was interesting. So we might be wearing.
I'm never not wearing a mask. Yeah, this is who I am for a while, at least 2 years. You know. Yeah. Well, I think like why not? You know. I was a little bit of a
in March. I think we all thought, okay, maybe till the end of May, and then we'll be back to this. There's no end in sight here at the moment. You know?
No. I mean, I'm a big Fauci guy. So Fauci says like at the end of 2021 things might start turning around. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Fauci's a hack. He's a hack. No.
So that's more than a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's about a year from now. Yeah.
And that's I assume being conservative. You know, I assume he's like being very generous.
I mean, for everything he's come out with so far has been generally right or generally been on the money. You know,
but he has been wrong. Everyone's been wrong on this.
Everyone's been wrong, but you know, he's I trust him. He's worked in epidemics before. He did, you know, so it's like I feel like, and if you look just historically, if you do a Wikipedia search of most epidemics, they last about 2 years. So that's about where we're headed for.
That's what I feel in my heart. 2 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my great uncle died of the flu in 1919 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he was a high school kid, and he was the person that my dad was born a few years later, and my dad was named after him. But it's it's just that pandemic really attacked young people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This one is hitting older folks. It seems
it's hitting older folks, which in a way, I mean, don't want to hurt anybody, but
it
would be awful if
Uh-oh, that's the government. That's Fauci.
Yeah, he's like, don't talk about 1919. Verboten.
I know.
Yeah, you said a code.
Sorry about that. So weird. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is something that happens every 100 years, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
You look at the Black Plague in Europe in the Middle Ages. A third of Europe died. Could you imagine?
That would be scary. Right now, we're not even close to numbers like that.
No, we're not. So.
Oh yeah, we're not even close to 1919 numbers. We're at 200,000 dead over 6 months. Here it was 200,000 in 1 month back then. So it's like at least we're at least we're not good. At least we're not that. At least we got lucky.
No.
It's bad, but it's not that bad.
Yep, that's true.
But it's funny. Now people are gonna. Because Trump survived, people are going to be like, it ain't nothing. If it didn't kill this unhealthy guy, I'm afraid people are going to lose all of their fear. I mean, I've lost a little bit of my fear. Not that I don't think it's scary or that I'm concerned about it, but I guess there was like the first month I wasn't leaving my house. Right. And now I can leave.
Well, I do think, those people, it's like you got to wear a mask, you got to keep your distance, and I think if you're smart about it, then you should be okay.
Yeah, that's it. And just don't be a Republican. That's it. Listen, I thank you so much. I don't want to hold you up. Thanks for taking the time out, man.
Oh, it's always fun talking to you, buddy. This was so much fun. I wish I could say I had things to do, but I didn't. So this is. Well, you didn't take me away from anything. I usually sob from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So this is perfect for me.
That's great. I'm glad you could schedule us in. In between.
Yeah,
we'll do a show soon. We'll do a Zoom show soon.
Let's do it. Yeah. And yeah, we'll promote it. And our fans, I don't know if I told you, but our fans.
Oh my God.
called
This is
niggers.
Trey's choice, by the way. That's Trey's choice.
So our fans of the podcast are called niggers. And that's just what we call our fans. So what we like to do is every episode we like to have our guests just give a shout out to the fans and maybe say
Well,
you don't have to.
You might be sued because I think there's another podcast that they call their fans. They don't call their fans that.
Okay.
But they do use that term a lot.
Well, I don't want to be sued. We'll have to check into the copyright. But right now,
all right, well, we apologize to Ben Shapiro for
Ben, don't sue us. Ben Shapiro.
This took a weird turn.
No. Oh God, yeah. No, but that's just something. That's a joke. It's a little bit I like to do.
But yeah, no, thank you, Brian, for coming on and talking to us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You guys are great, and stay safe. All right.
Yeah,
and we'll talk soon.
Definitely.
Okay. Bye.
All right.